A host of evil creatures has besieged the once pristine land as the Shadow King is directing his minions to invade, corrupt, and destroy all things of beauty. Merlin finds himself in this enchanted land after being swept away in a river. Armed with an arsenal of magical objects, you enlist the aid of the Lady of the Lake and destroy all the evil minions. It takes skill to penetrate the Shadow King's defenses and crush him forever. And young Merlin from
the great Marvel post-mortem. Good evening. The time is now 1:15. I'm Joel Mack. As always, is my co-host, the wickedly weird Wyatt Beard.
It's me.
Wyatt, I'll reiterate my question that I asked you not 15 minutes ago. Is this episode very cursed by some evil magic?
There is some level of curse that seems to be hovering over this episode that's undeniable at this point. We've had to reschedule 3 times, and then your internet broke.
It's downright proven to be cursed.
We seem to have bothered the demon Balthazar, and now he's sent his.
Is he named Balthazar?
He's called Balthazar.
You remember more
right?
about this film than I do.
I think I wrote down Balthazar. No, sorry, it's Balzaroth. I think Balthazar is from that game Primal I played recently.
Balzaroth sounds like a play on Balthazar. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I think Balthazar might be.
It's like
a thing.
the wizard that's called like Linmer.
Yes, because it's Merlin with a D and then rearranged.
There's a lot of just anagrams of names you know. But anyway, yeah, Doctor Strange has cursed us with a dark evil magic.
Yes.
Because we dared to watch his 1970s TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about how this came to be.
Now, I do want to correct your pronunciation. You said Doctor Strange. The film is actually called Doctor Strange. It's an abbreviated DR period.
I'm
just make
really
sure you get it
used
right.
to him being Doctor Strange, yeah, but he's Doctor Strange like Doctor Strangelove, yeah.
Yeah, we're really emphasizing his medical background by giving him the proper abbreviated title in this one.
Did you ever write down your Doctor Strangelove joke, by the way? That I requested from you.
What was the joke?
Okay, no, I'm gonna take that as a no. That's fine. I didn't either, but yes, it's spelled like Doctor Strangelove, as in Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I watched. I think, right? Was that the joke?
Hey, there we go. Yeah, there's the joke.
Yeah.
I accidentally watched Doctor
geez.
Strangelove. Oh, no fighting in the war room. Oh.
Yeah, this little TV movie of Marvel Comics is Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange. It's so this film came out in 1978. It was intended to be the pilot for a series that would have aired on CBS, just like the Incredible Hulk and the Amazing Spider-Man that we covered previously. It did not get picked up.
That's not what I was going to ask. I assumed it wasn't picked up because there wasn't any more.
Right. Yeah, you would recall from our Hulk episode that old Kenneth Johnson was brought in for a meeting and asked, like, hey, which of these properties do you want to work on? And he said none of them, and then changed his mind about Hulk. Doctor Strange is one of the properties Kenneth Johnson passed on. And
I understand. He would enter the room and say, not that.
Right.
No fucking way, because who gives a shit about Doctor Strange? I think
have an
is
answer
the
to that
question of the episode.
I have an answer.
Oh, yeah?
The answer is Philip de Guerre, who was the writer and director of this failed pilot.
Do you know what else Philip de Guerre did?
Nope, he doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
He didn't do much. He did, for fans of Private Detective series, he did Simon and Simon.
Okay.
But, other than that, he's really just like a writer for hire type.
And that's what he did here.
Yeah, they hired him and he wrote it.
It's interesting. I think this adaptation probably sticks the closest to its comic book counterpart out of everything else that we've covered so far by like a pretty significant margin even.
For sure, yeah. Yeah,
because we do have a Dr. Stephen Strange. His name wasn't changed because it was either too comic booky or too gay sounding, unlike David Banner. He is...
Will I get cancelled if I say Stephen Strange is a little bit gay? I like men, by the way. Like, I'm not homophobic. It's a little gay Stephen Strange.
Maybe. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, so is the mustache. It's kind of his whole aura. I mean, the whole movie, actually, you could do a queer reading of this because it's about him rejecting a woman repeatedly.
He's discovering an alternative lifestyle with a reclusive man with his own house in New York City.
He moves in with a very handsome gentleman named Wong.
Well, he moves in with Lindmer and his little boy toy Wong.
That's true.
What a stacked cast, by the way.
Let's get into that. Yeah, so we have Peter Hooton in as Doctor Strange himself, Stephen, who in this version is he's not a surgeon, he's a psychiatrist. That's maybe the most significant change here.
It's an interesting change, I guess, because psychiatry is a lot more like of the mind, like magic is, I'd say. Oh wait, I want to say one thing about Peter Hooton, because I like to check what else actors have done for anything like fun and interesting, like Defenders last time, I think, or Spider-Man, whichever episode it was. And
that was a Spider-Man episode, yeah.
Peter Hooton, one thing jumped out to me. He was the crazy chicken man from Claudio Fragaso's Night Killer, or as it was known in Italy, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So...
Okay.
that one's for you Italian horror
Beautiful.
freaks like me out there that will be very excited to learn he was also Doctor Strange.
Following Peter Hooton, we have Jessica Walter as the primary antagonist of the film. She's playing Morgane Le Fay of Arthurian legend, reinterpreted in a more comic book style. She kind of, she's kind of like kitted up like the Scarlet Witch in a lot of her scenes. I feel like maybe that's a reference they were pulling on a little.
Because Marvel, they did have Morgane Le Fay in, I want to say like the Black Knight comics.
That makes
but
sense.
The Black Knight comics, I skimmed them. They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
So the character is definitely more of a Scarlet Witch type of character.
Mm-hmm. She is serving the demon Balzaroth, who in an uncredited role, Balzaroth, the overarching antagonist here, is voiced by Ted Cassidy, who was the narrator for the prologue of every episode of The Incredible Hulk.
A startling metamorphosis.
Or rather the intro than the prologue.
That's actually fascinating.
Yeah.
I was going to be like a snarky bitch and be like, oh wow, but no, that's actually really interesting. That really piqued my interest.
Yeah, and he voiced the Hulk for the first 2 seasons until he died.
Yeah.
So Ted Cassidy was floating around. Cool. Yeah.
He's the Marvel guy. He's doing better than RDJ, apparently.
Oh, he's dead, so I wouldn't say that that's true.
No, he's doing better than RDJ.
Oh, yeah, okay. We also have the character Clea Lake, who is clearly based off of the Clea of the Doctor Strange comics that is traditionally Stephen's love interest. She's played by Anne-Marie Martin, who is credited as Eddie Benton on this film. Don't know where that came from.
Credited as Eddie Benton often. I think it was...
Just a stage
just
name,
like a different name she used. She was prominent in Prom Night, I want to say.
Oh wow, okay.
On the subject of horror.
Yeah. Well, horror is a subject that is kind of inseparable from Doctor Strange, I think, especially as we continue on with the character in other media. So yeah, it's the pretty traditional Doctor Strange origin story, minus his accident, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's not traditional in the sense that he has a different job and he doesn't have a horrible crippling accident happen to him.
Someone does. I have vivid memories of a man going flying off of a bridge in the only stunt in this film.
That's Lindmer. Yeah, he's what happened? So Morgane Le Fay like possesses. Is it Clea? I think it's Clea, right? She possesses Clea,
I think
lures Lindmer onto a pedestrian bridge over a highway, and then pushes him off.
And that was the one moment where everyone in this group viewing that we actually hosted was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then he just gets up and walks away. Like it's not a big deal.
He's over it.
He's a wizard, I guess. He can do that.
Our notes for this, well, mine especially, are very, like, scattershot.
Yeah, the movie is maybe a little scattershot as well. Balzaroth has asked Morgan Le Fay to... What does he do? What does he ask?
Kill someone.
To kill Lindmer or seduce his disciple. One of those two will satisfy his demands. Why has he asked her to do this? I don't recall.
Wyatt, all I know is that there is a barrier that separates the known from the unknown.
That's true. There's a pretty cool intro text for the movie. I think it's cool.
That intro is writing checks that the film cannot cash.
Yeah.
That intro is beautiful. It's like the
moody.
perfect fantasy action movie intro.
Did I mention who plays Morgan Le Fay, by the way?
You mentioned Jessica Walter, but we kind of glossed over her.
Yeah, she's the standout of this film, I think. Yeah. I would honestly say, from like a narrative structure, she is the protagonist of this film. She is the only one who is like actively trying to get anything done, and Doctor Strange just kind of becomes Doctor Strange haphazardly.
Stephen definitely isn't the protagonist, the way he just wanders through all of this, somehow ends up in like 2001: A Space Odyssey for a brief minute.
Yeah.
And then by the end, he's Doctor Strange, but I don't think he does any magic in the film. He's just called Doctor Strange now.
Yeah, he doesn't he just kind of repels Morgan's magic. He doesn't do much of his own. Yeah,
we don't get any of the quirky, insane magic. Magic in the comics kind of sucks, but I mean, we get nothing. I'd rather have sucks than nothing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I read a few of the early Doctor Strange comics as research for this, because there's not a lot of documentation on the movie itself. And those early stories are not like big wizard fights. It's a lot of like Baron Mordo, similar to Morgan Le Fay, like takes a different shape and tries to trick Doctor Strange into doing something, and he doesn't do it, and he's like, guess I'll get him next time.
I mean, seems as we have like nothing. We can just put Comics Corner right here, because I also read a couple of Doctor Strange comics for this.
Did you pick up on so the very first Doctor Strange appearance in Strange Tales 110?
The one Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
He's solo credited for Strange, which is rare that Stan Lee doesn't shoehorn his name onto that.
Well, Stan doesn't like to put his name on things that he think are gonna flop. So I think that's what happened.
Doctor Strange, was it successful?
No, yeah.
Did Doctor Strange was successful?
Yeah, people liked it. Yeah. I mean, he was never, at least at first, he wasn't so successful to become like the front story on the comic he shared with the Human Torch. but
that first one, the Dream one, it wasn't very good. I'll be honest. Sorry, Steve. Ditko,
it's not.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah. But I wanted to mention though. So he goes. Doctor Strange enters somebody's dreams, and he meets the villain Nightmare. The dream realm that Strange enters into, this like dreamscape, I thought had a lot of visual similarity with the world between worlds that Morgan communes with Balzaroth in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were
kind of like Rocky Hell.
Yeah, like Red. It's kind of a red room.
Red's good. Red means evil. Red means bad.
Exactly,
It's a good. It's a real quick little way of connoting that.
Yeah.
I also, as I like to do, I read a Doctor Strange comic that came out at the same time as the Doctor Strange film, just to see where we were in the comics. Also, a fucking dream story.
He's doing that a lot.
Apparently, he's always in dreams. This time it was a dream woman, though.
Yeah.
And he was with Clea.
You know, when I saw Multiverse of Madness and they had the dream walking stuff, I thought that was kind of like a novel concept for the film. But no, like Doctor Strange is always like doing dream shit.
And I like the idea of dream shit. Dreams are fascinating. I think like I wanted to bring up Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Italian version. Because this film felt Italian to me. It felt like an Italian horror film, but not quite there, you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking of Argento, where I think Argento would have made an excellent Doctor Strange film
I think,
in, like, the 80s.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, I think, belongs in the hand of horror directors.
What do you want from me? I want to be friends. Right. Take off your pants.
Like, that's the right fit
And
for
I
him.
mean, in the future, we would have gotten, well, not would have, we did get Scott Derrickson
And
Sam Raimi.
yeah.
Like, we got horror guys. I think, yeah, Doctor Strange is a horror character, so I think we need to really try and represent that. In a way that this didn't. It was a bit weak and not very scary.
I like there's a version of a Doctor Strange TV series that is like mostly a like medical drama, I think, and then also wizard stuff. And this isn't even that. Because on paper, that I think sounds really fun and cool. You know, like the way I've always wanted a Daredevil series. It's like a proper legal drama, and then he's like fighting ninjas, you know?
Really focus in on like, this is what he's doing week to week.
Yeah.
Oh, and also something is disrupting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Like,
give me House, and then every so often House like dives into a portal, you know, and fights a demon.
would you have like he's doing medical stuff, and every week the medical thing, he's like, oh, this is actually some sort of mystical, magical ailment that is affecting my patient. I need to solve that in the magic realm.
I wouldn't do that every week, but a few weeks, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were an auteur. Do you think this would have, if it had got picked up, would it have made a good TV series, though, as it is?
No, because it's too focused on the magic stuff at the expense of, like, something that you can afford to shoot every week.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know what, like, the structure would have been, because he really just ditched psychiatry. Which is really a bad move in hindsight.
Well, like the Incredible Hulk had 2 pilots, you know, one to have an origin story for the character, and then one to show you what the week-to-week format would be like. They could have done that with this. I really honestly would have loved to see more of the Wong character in this, because like with the MCU films, I do think Wong almost overshadows Steven as like a more interesting presence in this magical world. You got any fun facts? I don't know.
I mean, I've also got some changes.
Yeah.
We've already talked about how he's a psychiatrist now. Like, that's Clea, as you said, just a woman. She's, I think in the comics, she's like a niece of Dormammu.
Yeah. And I've read some...
Dormammu isn't here.
Well, I've read some interpretations that Balzaroth is effectively Dormammu in this.
I guess in the sense that he's just like a big mystical power dude.
Big head in another dimension.
We didn't talk about the purple suit. We don't have much to say. Weird purple suit that he gets at the end that has like the Marvel star on it for some reason. Yeah, that's pretty much it for changes. All right, you want to get into fun facts?
Yeah. What do you got? Fire them off.
Fun facts, as always, is presented by a little sound clip from the show or film. Wyatt has to guess what moment it's from. This week, the fun fact is presented by...
It sounds like Jessica Walter.
It does.
It does. I don't know. Is that when she turns into an old woman at the end?
Close. It's when she turns into Brian May at the end.
Oh, right. You're doing a bit, but I nailed it then, yeah?
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
you got it.
Hell yeah.
I'm not against you. I'm rooting for you to get all of
you.
these.
I've missed, what, 1 so far? What's my track record?
Yeah, the Spider-Man one.
Yeah.
But you're so far 2 for 3. Keep it above the midpoint. I'm rooting for you, buddy. All right, fun facts. In 1986, writer Bob Gale of Back to the Future fame was hired to write a theatrical Doctor Strange movie to be directed by Wes Craven for New World Pictures.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
At the time, I wrote down at the time they owned Marvel. That might be true.
Yes, New World? Yeah. New World had bought Marvel. Yeah.
That makes sense for Fantastic Four movie. Anyway, due to budgetary reasons and unfamiliarity to non-comic readers, the film was overall cancelled. We did get a Wes Craven superhero movie in the form of Swamp Thing, but that's a whole other can of worms, brother.
Is that it?
I mean, that's one of my 3 facts. I just didn't know if you... I mean, was that fun? Did you enjoy that fact?
You could do better.
Okay, I'll try. I'm sorry.
That's
I'll try my
that's
best.
strike 1, Joel. You said you had 3?
Oh, fuck. All right. Fact number 2. Fun fact number 2. Morgan Le Fay was the first ever Marvel Comics foe to be adapted to a live-action piece. She was later joined by Kingpin in The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and of course, Mouth, the elf with a gun. All right, fun fact number 3. I'm striking that one myself. That was a strike. Fun fact number 3, my last chance. In a 1985 interview, Stan Lee cited this movie as the Marvel television project of the 70s that he wound up giving the most input, and noting he became very friendly with writer, executive producer, and director Philip DeGuerre Jr.
Oh, yeah?
Lee added that next to the Incredible Hulk, this was the live-action adaptation of a Marvel character with which he was the most pleased at the time.
That's so interesting, Stan.
Yeah, he's such an interesting man. He was disappointed by the movie's low ratings, which he attributed to Doctor Strange being aired against Roots.
Oh, yes, I did forget about that. Not even against Roots, against a rerun of Roots.
So let's get to the tier list.
Yeah. What do we think?
Do you want me to be entirely honest with you? Because I could just sit here and bullshit you and be like, oh, it's F, it sucks, it's worthless. I think C. Like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, there's parts of this that I'm intrigued by and would have watched more of. Yeah. No, I'm
for
with
sure.
you. I could do a C tier.
I do think maybe my hubris in, I say our first episode, I don't know if that was Spider-Man or the other long-lost episode, but I said I don't understand the point in a D tier on a tier list.
I had the same thought.
Maybe I do now.
D for Doctor Strange.
I mean, I don't really want to add a D, but if it's just Doctor Strange, I'll add D. For sure.
It's Doctor tier.
D for Doctor Strange. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that too, yeah. I actually had that exact same thought where I was like, this feels like a D, but we don't have a D. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Don't hate it, but really just not a fan. Not gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I think F is for like something utterly irredeemable. D is for something that's like really bad, but I can see what we were trying to do. Does that conclude Doctor Strange talk?
That does, yeah, that's it.
God.
That's Doctor Strange. Do you have any final thoughts that you didn't get out? Any notes? Any singular notes that you want to say? Just the one, please?
No.
Okay, I will say I wrote down boob dream. Whoever is editing this, please find out what I meant by that.
Please research boob dream and report back.
Please, Google boob dream right now and just tell me what I meant.
That's a show.
Alright, we still don't have an ending, do we? So
good night and good luck.
Good night and good luck, brother.